The tragedy lived up to its name, but the separation of Grogu and Din Djarin only heralds a season finale in style. Of course, if the first season of The Mandalorian did not stop sowing unknowns and connections with the Star Wars cinematographic universe, we cannot complain that Season 2 is not dedicated to solving them. The Mandalorian came from 2 very intense chapters. In Episode 4 of this second season we learn more about the plans of the Empire and Moff Gideon for Baby Yoda. Nothing less than using his blood to create something very similar to Snoke, not to say that Snoke himself. In Chapter 5 we learned about Baby Yoda's past, from now on Grogu, and had our generous dose of Jedi fighting from the hand of an unforgettable Ahsoka Tano in every scene. We could say that Chapter 6 of this second season, The Tragedy, will also be remembered for another great revelation. Perhaps the most anticipated of all. Yes, Boba Fett is in The Mandalorian, his was the armor Mando recovers from Tatooine's Marshall, Gor Koresh. He was the shadow that rescues Fennec Shand, Ming-Na Wen, the voice of the 1998 Mulan, in Chapter 5 of the series and the one that closed the Marsall, the first of this second season. Like Shand, Boba Fett survived on Tatooine after being presumed dead. We will all remember when, in Return of the Jedi, in a sequence that is hard not to remember beyond Carrie Fisher and her iconic bikini with Jabba. But yes, the son of the bounty hunter Jango Fett survived. We don't know how, to fall into the pit of a Sarlacc. Played by Temuera Morrison, it's hard to believe that the return of one of the supporting characters from the original trilogy was not the highlight of the chapter. What's more, Temuera Morrison played her father, Jango. Remember that he is not a biological son, but a clone of him, in the prequel trilogy. But the thing is, and forgive us for saying this with some sadness, we are facing the first chapter of The Mandalorian in which the good guys lose. The title of the episode, directed by Robert Rodriguez, is called, Not for Nothing, The Tragedy, and that is precisely what it gives us. When Din Djarin leads Grogu to the stone of the Temple of Tython, the little boy is enveloped in a force field that Mando, despite his numerous attempts, is unable to cross. While our favorite Mandalorian Boba Fett and Fennec Shand give their useless stormtrooper theirs, tragedy occurs. After Fett retrieves his armor and gives a true display of its use, a show that will be orgasmic for fans eagerly awaiting his return, the Darth Troopers arrive. These, commanded by Moff Gideon, have little to do with the clumsiness of their white companions, equipped with the typical Mandalorian's jetpacks, and which Mando had left on the ground during his conversation with Boba Fett. They soon descend for Grogu and take him away by force. The last we see of the little Jedi is how he gives what he deserves to a pair of stormtrooper to fall asleep before Moff Gideon, who threatens him with his black lightsaber, and asks that they send the message that we already have the donor. But not everything is tragedy in this chapter. To win you have to suffer, and The Mandalorian could not be a placid trip in which everything went well at the end of each episode. That being the case, the plot was going to end very soon, and his interest even earlier. Mando has lost, after 14 episodes, to Grogu. He has failed. But that only means one thing: now you have to get it back. No more escorting you from one place to another. Now we are preparing for a battle that we hope will be even more spectacular than the one that ended Season 1. Mando has Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, who we already know how they spend them, and soon ask Cara Dune for help. Without a doubt, a great team to which, regretting it, we do not believe that Ahsoka Tano will join. She does not appear in the credits of more episodes. We prepare for a great battle for a goal as dramatic as rescuing Grogu from the hands of Moff Gideon and the Empire. That is, thanks to the tragedy we already know that the climax of the end of the season will be up to the task. And no, we haven't forgotten another little detail that could blow up the Star Wars universe. It has not occurred to us that Grogu is a long time on the stone of the temple using the Force, calling another Jedi. Yes. We know it could be nothing. We know any other anonymous Force master could show up, but we want to believe, the hope is very Star Wars, that Luke Skywalker will hear that call.